Hi, and welcome back to the tour. So let's go out on Washtenaw Avenue and take a look at another one of our beautiful churches. This church is the First Presbyterian Church. The building was erected in 1938, but the church itself was founded in 1826. It's located at 1432 Washtenaw Avenue. If you've not been out there, I encourage you, take a look at the grounds, take a look at the building inside. It is gorgeous. And also take a look at what they have to offer. So anyhow, let's take a look at the history. So Reverend Noah Wells, pastor of a church in Detroit, came to Ann Arbor, which was a 2-day journey on horseback, and organized the First Presbyterian Church of Ann Arbor on August 21st, 1826. 17 people, members of Presbyterian and Congregational churches in New York and Virginia, presented certificates of church membership that they brought with them. One other woman joined that day on profession of faith by baptism. John Beach became our first installed minister in October 1831 and served until July 1838. By 1837, the congregation outgrew the small frame church and built a larger frame church across the street with a much larger seating capacity and a taller bell tower. The University of Michigan moved from Detroit to Ann Arbor in 1837 and held its first graduation in the church in August 1845. In the late 1850s, the building was sold and moved a few blocks away to make room for our first brick church. The new brick church was begun in 1860, just at the beginning of the Civil War, but with wartime constraints, the second spire was not completed until 1872. The new sanctuary had a seating capacity of about 1,000 people, and many Sundays the pews were filled with up to 600 students. These were the years during which the University of Michigan students were required to attend church. Now, keep that in mind. The building was described as follows. The entry to the building and stairway to the auditorium is dismal, cold, harsh, and has an uninviting character, but the auditorium was pleasant enough. It was in this building that the ladies did most of the weekly and annual cleaning, carpet beating, woodwork polishing, and washing windows. In the 1920s, it became apparent that the brick church was hopelessly outdated, and Pastor Anderson and a committee began a search for property on which to build a new church. Professor Demon's widow graciously offered her property to the church for only half of its market value. She thought it was too lovely a place to be used by a land developer, but perfect for a church. The property was known as the Oak Grove and sometimes the Picnic Grove. We, speaking again from the First Presbyterian Church of Ann Arbor's website, we purchased the property, and it is here we worship today. The building committee sold the brick church to the Ann Arbor News in 1935 to make way for their office building and printing presses. From the summer of 1935 and until the opening of our Washtenaw Avenue Church in 1938, we worshiped in the Masonic Temple. On January 23, 1938, our new building was dedicated by Dr. William Lemon, our 9th installed minister. The church built the nave and the social hall, and the University of Michigan Presbyterian Corporation added a four-story attached wing for university student activities. Again, it's a beautiful church. Here are some of the comments when I first posted this picture on the Ann Arbor Townie site. This obviously came from a member of the church because they said, everyone please come for a visit and maybe even to become part of our very human, loving, and imperfect church family. I actually love that. Self-identification as human, loving, and imperfect. It kind of describes all of us, doesn't it? Somebody else said, I was hoping you would include this. Thank you. I haven't lived in Ann Arbor since 1965, but I still think of this as my church. And again, this is part of what this series is all about. Both the book form and the video series is to bring people back to times that, at least in retrospect, seem much simpler and, for some people, happier times. So nostalgia, if it is overwhelming, is not a good thing. But to have these moments where you get to pause and reflect and remember, or even create a memory or two, it's very, very healthy to do that. So somebody says it may interest you baseball fans out there to know that Reverend Ernest Campbell, minister here from 1962 to 1968, before going to Riverside Church in New York City, presided over the funeral of Jackie Robinson at Riverside Church in 1972. Somebody else said, beautiful photo, the lighting is superb. So thank you. I appreciate it when somebody notices the photography. Somebody else said, born, baptized, raised, married, raised 2 boys. I owe a lot to this wonderful place, and my mom's spirit can be felt all over the church. Great memories. 1938, what was going on in 1938? Well, a lot of things in the world were going on while this particular version of the church was being erected. In that year, aviator Howard Hughes flies around the world in 3 days and 19 hours, setting a new record. Also, 1938, the Nazis destroyed Jewish shops, homes, synagogues in Kristallnacht. The riots of Kristallnacht. 20,000 to 30,000 were sent to concentration camps. One of my favorite, all-time favorite plays and writers, Thornton Wilder, this was the year that he wrote and published Our Town, and it won the Pulitzer Prize for drama. I had the pleasure when I was a kid at Tappan Junior High School to play Mr. Webb in the play Our Town. So I have special memories of that wonderful time when life was simpler. You'll often hear me refer to Ann Arbor as Our Town, and that's really the reference that I'm making. Also, in that year, the U.S. unemployment rate reaches 19%. If you can think about that, almost 1 in every 5 people were unemployed at that time. So I hope you've enjoyed our quick look at this beautiful church. As always, if you'd like to have advance notice of a posting, please just hit subscribe and you'll be notified. Again, thanks, and please come back. All right, thank you.